remember the days of great comic books and epic battles. And I'm here to report to you that, yes, we may not get as many of those as we would like, but it is not all over. You've seen the title of the video, you know what it is. So, somebody in my comments, they mentioned some of the other Godzilla versus books when I covered the Godzilla versus the Fantastic Four. They said some of the other books weren't good. I don't know about those books. I know the Fantastic Four versus Godzilla was excellent. Godzilla versus Thor was absolutely epic. Epic. I was not expecting to enjoy this book right here, but this was a very enjoyable book. I think if you are in the mood for an epic battle, and this is the thing about these one-shot comics that I like. I like the fact that the battle rages on, and at the end of the battle, the story is sewn up. There's nowhere else to go, and you don't have to wait for another book. It's a great one shot. To me, now you can disagree with this. To me, this is one of the great, I guess you could call it, what if battles. Godzilla versus Thor. The art was good, story was good, very tightly done. I'm going to show you some panels from this book just to show you why I enjoyed this so much. And it starts out in Japan. There's this high priestess of the hand that has been looking for the best killers on the planet. And she's going to offer them up to Godzilla. And she's pretty much praying to Godzilla. Godzilla is the deity, I guess, of the hand in this story. The killers come in, they don't know what's going on. They think that they're being hired to kill. So they're like, yeah, let's get on with it. But they don't know they were hired to be an offering to Godzilla, which is absolutely great. Of course, Godzilla arrives in Japan, destroying everything. And she is one of those people that she just wants this destruction. She's in a death cult, and they're celebrating all the death that Godzilla is now bringing to Japan. And as he's bringing this death to Japan, in comes Thor. Now, the battle that happens between Thor and Godzilla in this book is one for the ages. And again, this is my opinion. You might disagree, but I think this was done well. These one-shot Godzilla stories are really the two that I've read are really good. The Fantastic Four and this one. Like I said, I've heard some of the other ones weren't so good, but Thor comes in, they do battle, and really the thing that was great about this is the book did not make you wait for the battle. They got right into the battle, right to it. Thor and Godzilla going at it. At some point in the book, Thor calls down an ice blast from Jotunheim and freezes Godzilla. This was epic. So the high priestess gets this shard that they have locked away. I'm not going to get into all of that. You can go read the book. But imbues Godzilla with the power of the God Butcher. So he becomes Godzilla the God Butcher. I was like, yo, they're really doing their thing. And as you can see, looking at this panel, again, like I said, the art was done well. I love splash panels like this. I always mention that. The proportions are right. As a matter of fact, let me give a shout out to I can't remember who the artist was on this book, because he did a bang up job. The artist is Aaron Kuder, and Jason Aaron wrote this script. This is a good script. This is a good script. This thing was done so well. I enjoyed this read. So as Thor and Godzilla are going at it, uh Godzilla at some point goes into Asgard, destroys everything, kills everyone, and this is where you see at some point Thor calls in a storm from every. I'll read to you what he says. He says, "Though Asgard be no more, one Asgardian yet lives." And when the thunder god calls for vengeance, every storm in existence must answer. And this is exactly what he does. And so every tempest from every world across creation, every solar squall and cosmic cyclone, every storm that that bolstered and bellowed from anywhere throughout infinity, all came thundering to Thor. This is a lot of power, Thor, and this just goes to show you how how big of a monstrous a villain Godzilla can be. Now, for all intents and purposes, Godzilla is technically not a villain, but he is a villain, if you know what I mean. Godzilla just has his own thing going on. He's doing his own thing. Doesn't want to be bothered. People always bothering Godzilla, bringing him, out of his caverns. And Thor really brings the pain to Godzilla. But ultimately, it was, I guess you could call it a murder-suicide. Thor kills Godzilla, but he knows in this death, he's going to bring his own death. And he has one last hurrah with Mjolnir against Godzilla. But then you find that even in the afterlife, where all of the other gods have rest, him and Godzilla are still going at it. Godzilla does not rest. And that's why I say this story was done so well. So it really, stories like this make me realize something. Marvel can do a lot of things just by crafting some simple stories. Now, I say that and I understand it really takes some talent to really pour into some of these stories and to make them what they are. But really and truly, something like this, epic battles, and I've said this before, epic battles like this make for great books. And this is a prime example. The story was tight. They got right to business, bringing you right to the battle. Thor versus Godzilla. Who will win? And it's a stalemate. And they go to the death, even after death, in the afterlife, they are still going at it. This is a good book. This is a good book. This is the type of book that you read and you think to yourself, man, more stories like this. This is what I want to see.